Fox News alert now, Russian fighter jets, two of them, forced a U.S. military drone to crash in the Black Sea, with U.S. officials warning of escalation.
This incident demonstrates a lack of competence in addition to being unsafe and unprofessional.
And we don't want to see this war escalate beyond what it already has done to the Ukrainian people. And so this was inappropriate, unsafe, unprofessional conduct by the Russian pilots.
So again, the Biden administration's great at going into the fetal position when attacked. Congresswoman Nancy Mace joins us now. Congresswoman, I know the gravity of the situation, but the Russians should understand what the gravity is if you do things like this. Don't you agree?
Yes, and there ought to be consequences to their actions. But the problem is that when America is weak, the world is weak. And you mentioned earlier, Brian, our withdrawal from Afghanistan, the way in which we did that. Our world leaders saw that. They saw our weakness in the way we've dealt with China. They see our weakness on the world stage, and we're vulnerable because of that. And so far, in the last 24 hours, it's just been a slap in the wrist. Russia is bad. And those are just empty words, but we have to take action. We cannot allow this to not have any consequences. And if we're unwilling to shoot down a Russian jet who brings down one of our pieces of equipment, then we ought to be exacting more sanctions on Russia. There ought to be consequences to their actions.
Then we should send 3 drones today, right over there in international airspace. Let's do it. And that cost us $32 million, and we call them unprofessional. What an embarrassment that is. And from an admiral. He should know better. Let's talk about something else. For the longest time, we know Hunter Biden was up to no good. We didn't know how far this would go. But now we got the bank records from Bank of America, and it reveals other Biden family members involved with millions of dollars worth of transactions with this Chinese energy company. How significant is this discovery that James Comer announced yesterday?
This is major. This is a major discovery. We are also getting access to the suspicious activity reports from the Department of Treasury. But what we learned yesterday was there are multi-million-dollar deals that China paid one of the Biden associates, and within 24 hours, less than 24 hours actually, that money was then given to 3 members of the Biden family. To say that China wasn't paying off Biden or his family members would be a lie. That is exactly what they were doing, multi-million dollars worth. And it's insane that people don't want to have this investigated.
Treasury has not helped. They finally gave it over. They wanted to know why. You weren't in the majority. Now that you're in the majority, what other things are you looking to subpoena, to request?
Well, this is just the tip of the iceberg. And quite honestly, Brian, seeing the whistleblower reports I've seen on a number of different issues, including fraud and abuse in our federal government, it's hard to know where to start. I just read a whistleblower report, for example, the other day where someone at the Pentagon was essentially paid off $1 million to give a non-competitive sole source contract to their favorite software company for $10 billion. This kind of thing that is going on with the Biden family, it is prevalent, it is pervasive, and it needs to stop. We need to have referrals once we have an investigation if crimes were committed. Referrals need to go to DOJ. People need to be fired. There ought to be consequences to bad and illegal behavior. I don't care how high of an office you carry. People need to be held accountable.
If he gets paid by the Chinese government and did not disclose it, doesn't show up on his taxes, if this gets bigger, how does he run for office again? Because how could you possibly not be transparent, and you have to deal with China at the highest level, but yet you're into China, possibly for millions of dollars? Congresswoman, I know you're off this week. See it, not off, but off from Washington. Hopefully you'll get briefed.
I'm never off.
I know. Hopefully you'll get briefed as a member of the Armed Services Committee, and there'll be a stronger response today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brian.
Right.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.